you. We were just saying that we feel like we're too close to the camera, but we're gonna be close to the camera together, so it's fine. How are you, Shannon?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. We should probably let everyone know that it is the hottest day of the year in Calgary and Cochrane right now.
I think they said since 1985, I heard on the radio.
Oh,
So we
okay.
broke a record. Yeah. That's why
Wonderful.
I'm feeling red and flushed and,
Yes.
glowy.
So we're very glowy. Those of you who are listening to this on the podcast don't care and don't see, so that's fine. But if you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the other video platforms, enjoy our very dewy complexions today. So Shannon, let's dive right in. Introduce yourself and your business, and then let's get into the story of how you started your business.
My name is Shannon Dick. My company is Shannon Designs, Embroidery and Promotions. I started in July of 2002, so this month is 22 years. Yeah.
Woo,
Pretty
yeah.
cool. I'm still
Amazing.
kicking.
You're still kicking and still growing and still like just expanding the business. And
All the things. Yeah.
it seems like a very exciting industry because things are always evolving and there's new technology coming out and new ways of doing things. Like, do you love that?
I do, and sometimes it's really overwhelming because it's like there's so many things. What do you pick? And I'm always worried about picking the wrong thing. So, yeah, there's it's hard for someone. I think I have a bit of ADD, maybe undiagnosed, that I'm diagnosing myself, because there's so many things, and I want to do all the things. Like I just saw something tonight that I'm like, I almost sent it to you. I'm like, oh, this could be a new income stream. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But it all
You
fits in my business, so it's pretty cool.
It does. You have such a wide range of clientele, from the team wear, you're helping out sports teams. You've got like, these groups of 20 guys that go on a trip together every year that get you to do their shirts or whatever. And then you've got like me who need the swag, who need the hats, the sunglasses, all the logoed mugs and stuff. And yeah, so tell us how you actually started kind of playing with this whole thing and maybe even before you thought it was a business.
I have always loved to make things. I've been, I think a crafter can be such a funny word because it sounds kind of, I don't know. I've always loved to make. So anything, like something new, I want to try it. Gift giving is my love language, and I love to create something personal for that person. I put a lot of time and thought into it, and it makes me happy. So it all grew from that. And when I look back, I started a business in high school, and I never called it a business. It was just, oh, look, I can sew these and I can make these. And I made bicycle shorts, wore them to school, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, so this was in the 90s. They're like, I love those. And I'm like, I can make you a pair. And so I have no idea how much I made. I just know that I made a lot of them. And, you could see people around my high school, like max 400 people, like guys and girls wearing my bicycle shorts. So that was kind of my first taste, and it just grew from there.
That's so cool. So you started your first business in high school making biker shorts, like out of spandex.
Out of spandex, and the brighter the better.
Right. The brightest colors, and you were selling them in school. And then what was your next kind of way to create things for people, or what did you move into next?
I've always had a list of things I want to learn. Like I wanted to make sewing was one thing. So I have this amazing adopted grandma that taught me how to sew. Her mother was a seamstress in Montreal. And so when I told her I wanted to make something, she took me to the fabric store. I picked a pattern. She showed me how to choose my fabric, how to read the pattern. And just so I started sewing more. And from that, I made baby bibs out of hand towels, and I stenciled them. I think about it now, and it seems so hokey now, but I stenciled them with like little bears and balloons and names and whatever. Sold those. I made like Boo Boo bunnies out of, I don't know if you remember those. You make them out of a face cloth, and they look like a rabbit, but you can put an ice cube in their bum so that teething babies could use them, or kids that had little bobos could use them. And it literally just kind of, and then I learned how to toll paint and toll painting. I started selling some stuff. I put them in on consignment into craft stores and into galleries and stuff. Like, they call them galleries, but it was just a consignment place. So yeah, so it just kept going. And so then the next thing was scrapbooking. And from scrapbooking, I found embroidery because I went into a sewing store one day and they had this amazing embroidery machine. It was a home sewing and embroidery machine. And I'm like, that's my next thing. But it was a lot of money. So I went home and I told my husband, who's always been amazingly supportive. And I said, okay, this is what I want, but this is how much it costs. He goes, okay, we're selling our house. If we sell our house, you can get that machine. So we sold our house, bought the machine, and that's how I started. And I just started embroidering, for myself and gifts. And then he came home one day and he said, hey, so-and-so landscaper in Canmore, he wants some t-shirts and hats. I'm like, well, I could do that. So I started embroidering for other people.
Wow.
And then, yeah, just went from there.
Amazing. So you sold your house and then you just downsized so that there was money available to buy the machine and then get into a different house? Or did you just kind of rent for a while, or what was
No,
that all?
the first machine I bought was, like I said, it was a home machine. So it was like $3,500. And we moved into our new house and I started making stuff with that here. And I started getting more orders and getting more popular. And it was then you had to do one thread at a time. So you could only stitch one thing at a time. So every time you had to change a color, you had to change a thread. And they only go so fast. And I was doing an order and the logo was really big and it was taking forever. And my husband's like, you either need to go big or get out. Like, this is sucking up all your time. So I'm like, what do you mean go big? He's like, get a real machine, get a commercial machine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. And yeah, it was 26,000 was that I invested to get started. And that was back in 2002. It took me a year to decide. I did my research and the internet was still new. So it was not as easy as it is now. Found my machine, purchased it, had it delivered. They delivered in one day. I had 2 days training and then they left and I was on my own. So started in my basement. My daughter was about 4 years old, I think. So, and now she's almost 28.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. It is really helpful to have someone cheering you on, like to have someone in your court that's there to just kind of point you in the right direction in those moments, even when you're maybe doubting yourself. And I think that's one of the secrets to your success. The more I've gotten to know you and the dynamic with Greg, the more I've really appreciated him and just been so grateful that someone like you found someone like him, because I do meet a lot of fempreneurs who don't have someone like him, and it's way harder for them. It really is.
It is. And he's always been my biggest cheerleader, and man, does that man piss me off sometimes, because he tells me what I need to hear when I don't want to hear it, and has me look at things in a way that I wouldn't have looked at. I mean, he's always been an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur means taking risks. And sometimes those risks pan out and other times they don't. And with his business, that's happened to us. But we both realize, I mean, when you're an entrepreneur for life. It's not, and those that don't make it, they're just not, it's not for them. Like, cause there's ups and downs, and there's times like even this week. And I mentioned this earlier when we were on a call together that I'm like, I woke up one morning and went, what am I doing? What the hell? And I'm like, I felt like a hot mess on all levels. I'm like, this is messy and this is messy and this is messy. And why am I doing this? I know why I'm doing this. I love my business. I love the space that I'm in. But sometimes you get bogged down and, the only way your business is going to succeed is if you change and grow. And I'm growing again right now. COVID was a big growth for me. And that growth was it was a personal growth within my business, and it allowed my business to grow. And now I hired a second staff, and I forgot. I know I needed it, and I know I can't continue to grow without the extra help, but you forget how much that can take out of you. And so I think this week, it's summer, it's hot, and you just forget, right? So I think that I'm just in the messy middle in that growth stage. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting though, right? Like knowing that you're growing and recognizing the feeling you're having is actually growing pain, which is a good thing. Because sometimes, like you said, you kind of get in it, you get in that state of discomfort and you're like, shit, 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 like something's wrong. But then you're like, wait a minute, this is actually good. Like,
And really, it's like when we're doing the marketing and you're doing all these different things and you're not seeing those instant tangible results, it's kind of that building process that you're like, oh shit, did I screw up? Like this doesn't seem to work, and maybe I shouldn't have done this. And it's like, okay, there's no mistakes. It's like you learn, and what's next. And then you see results. Some results come really quick and others aren't. So it's having that patience and kind of that blind trust, which I suck at sometimes. I really, really suck. So every once in a while, the universe will remind me that you're okay. It's okay. Just keep trucking. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit of the backstory for those of you who don't know Shannon or I, we actually met about a year after I started the YYC Fempreneurs and the Fempreneur Marketing School. And she always tells people that she kind of like, what did you say? Like you were kind of creeping on Facebook
I
for
I I did. I was creeping you on Facebook because I'm like, huh. And it's one of those things that I do believe, energy that you put out, you get back, good, bad, or otherwise. And so I was in that looking stage. And to me, when I start seeing things repeatedly, I'm like, okay, somebody's trying to tell me something, pay attention. And so I started paying more attention. And yeah, so then when COVID hit, I didn't have an excuse of I don't have time, because at that time I was solo in my business, fully solo. And it's like, holy shit, it's either this is a make or break time. And I thought, well, my landlords gave me the gift of massively reduced rent. Like without them, I wouldn't still be here because COVID would have killed me. And that I had that time to look at marketing. And that's when I found you. And I'm like, you know what? Thing popped up, free marketing school, 6 weeks, Fempreneur, try this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have nothing to lose. And that's what started it all.
So Shannon is one of the 100 women who participated in my marketing school for nothing, for completely free.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's more than paid me back, right, Shannon? Because you've been a client ever since. So free
Mm-hmm.
works. For you who are still doubting it, free does work when it's positioned correctly and when you have a valuable offer that fits those niche people that you're giving free stuff to. You're going to convert some of them into forever clients like Shannon. So Shannon and I have enjoyed working together. I, of course, have her do all my swag, and we love brainstorming about new swag for the YYC Fempreneurs community. And we love brainstorming about all sorts of things together. But really, it's about putting yourself out there and having those conversations. Like we went for like a beer or something on a patio. I think was the start of our friendship
Yeah.
and work relationship. And I really just want to speak specifically in this episode to the people that feel like they're super creative and they love creating, because I definitely can relate to that. My creativity has been more on the marketing side, where it's like taking some Shannon and pulling those words out of her, getting her on video, creating videos, creating marketing material that really showcases her, because she is the business. And that's where my creative juices get flowing and I get super excited about things. But a lot of times us creative people, right, Shannon, we get a little sort of stuck in the creation and we kind of forget to like do some of the organizational things. And,
And do you know what? That's huge. That is huge. That word, you get stuck.
Yeah.
Because you do. It's like when you do the same thing all the time, you do it a certain way. And then when someone else looks at it and goes, that works, but what about this?
Yeah.
And you do that. You are able to kind of look at the whole thing quickly and go, okay, what about this? And you are fearless, which someone like me who's a little like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know, putting my face out there, or I don't know if this event is going to work. And I mean, you tell me to sign up for something, I'm like, okay, I sign up and I show up. I'm like, what am I doing here? And to me, that says a lot about you as a coach.
Thank
right?
you.
It's like, okay, I'm here. Okay, what am I doing? Tell me what to do.
Yeah, and I like bringing people like Shannon out of their business, out of their little safe space that they always are in. I like to bring them out and make them uncomfortable and introduce them to a bunch of people. And I mean, I'm constantly putting you on a pedestal. But I like people to be able to meet you face to face versus just seeing stuff that I post about you on social media. But back to the creative brain and just the creative kind of human that wants to go from being a creator like you were to being an entrepreneur creator. I want you to take from this episode some really key messages and some really big inspiration. And that is that you can do it and you should do it and you shouldn't quit, but you are going to need help. So, reach out to someone like Shannon, send her a message on Instagram. There's people out there that will help you if you ask. And you don't need to wait a year like Shannon did. You can jump a little faster, right? Like sometimes we wait when we should take a step. And the other thing that's really cool is when you find yourself in this feeling of discomfort, like I want you to tell the story about COVID and about when your business all of a sudden very noticeably slowed down because everything did, and what you did and how you reacted. And then, I mean, part of that phase of your life was when you and I met, but you did some really, really big, bold things that I think a lot of people they don't take these risks, they don't take these steps. So tell us the story and how you felt. And by the way, she tells this story really well in her book, and Shannon does have a book called Build Your Brand. It's on Amazon. I'll link to it in the show notes. But anyways, tell the story.
So when COVID kind of started, we weren't really sure what was happening. We're like, what is this? Whatever. And reality hit when my business was deemed non-essential. And because I am my business, I took, you take it personally, like, oh my God, you're taking away my ability to make money. You're taking away my everything, right? Like everything. And I think I did 24, maybe 36 hours where I was like what's going to happen to me? Like I had a pity party. Like I cried. I was like, I put all this time and effort in, and now what? And then my landlords came to me and they said, look, we want you here. We don't want the space empty. We want to help you out. And that was the first step to going, okay, all right, I've got some breathing room. And then YYC Fempreneur Marketing School, it just came up that you've got a free marketing 6 weeks free marketing school. And like, I couldn't, I've got nothing to lose and I've got the time. I have no more excuses. And when something is that, when I was so scared to lose my business, like, I'm like, what does this mean? I mean, I was really lucky. My equipment was paid off. So I didn't have that as overhead. With the rent thing sorted out, there was, I had breathing room. So in that I went, okay, I'm going to, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to do this marketing school. And that was the first time I'd ever done like a Zoom or anything like that. So I have no problem talking to people. You come into my space, I can help you, no problem. But to go and put myself out there and being on camera like this, that was really, really putting myself out there. I had huge growth, and it was not just in my business, but it was me personally. And when you work on yourself, it trickles down into other parts of your life, including your business. And it was, I saw that taking a risk is scary, but if you're not scared, you're stagnant. So there's no growth. Like you're just, because you're in your comfort zone, you're like, yeah, tootle along, that'll be fine. But no, so there's lots of growth, and marketing school was a catalyst to that. And it was just, it's invaluable, and you have to take that risk and you have to keep moving, because once you stop moving, it's like that body in motion stays in motion, body at rest stays in rest. And I firmly believe that. And you just kind of keep plugging along, and your path's not straight. Like it's anything but straight. And for those people that their path is straight, that's awesome. But there's a lot of things to learn, and a lot of, I won't do that, or I will do this again. And you just have to keep going.
Yeah. Talk about the stickers that you hand delivered to many of the businesses in Cochrane, and kind of place that into this timeline. I can't really remember when.
So when I was trying to think of how am I going to fill my time, because sitting at home wasn't an option for me. So I went to the shop every day. I got up, I got dressed, just like I was open. I could still work. I just couldn't serve the community, right? They couldn't come through my doors. So, you do the pickup, the whatever. But of course, nobody knows what's happening. So things were pretty slow. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go crazy. What can I do? So I think it was my daughter actually that came up with it. We made this Cochrane Strong sticker, and we made hundreds of them. We cut them out in vinyl, put them all together, and we put a thing on Facebook and said, like, if you want to, we have 100 stickers that we're going to give away. And if you want to nominate another local business, because we really want to support local, and say, hey, we see you, because nothing feels better than being seen. It's like, you know what, maybe I can't help you, but I see you, and I get it. And the response from that was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. So we went and we delivered all those stickers to businesses. Like, we just dropped them off, and I still see those stickers. I still have one of my, I see them all the time. I see them on business doors. And then, of course, then people in the community are like, I want to buy a sticker. I'm like, yeah, $6, you can have a sticker. So that kind of went, okay, this is cool. And then I made face masks. I made tons of face masks. And it kept me going. It kept my creativity going so that I didn't lose my mind.
Yeah.
And it served a purpose. So, you know, if you ask me, does my business serve people? My thing would be like, well, kind of, not really, but yeah, it does. It's on a different level. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a holistic healer. I'm not anything like that. But what I do has purpose, and it makes people happy. And I get happy and excited to bring that to life for them. Whether it's a corporate company, I get really proud to say, look, I did your logo. It looks great, to somebody that wants a gift. So it just, that was just kind of how I got through COVID. And it gave me the momentum to keep going. And I'm what, you can feel bad, you can feel sad, but you can't stay there. So you've got to get up and get going. And having even, like, I made masks with my girlfriend, Linda, and then, the stickers I did with my daughter, Lindsay. And so it, it had far more reaching effects than I realized at the time. And it just gave us kind of a purpose that we were missing.
Yeah. And I kind of relate, like, what you did with those 100 stickers to my 100 women in the free marketing school. Like, it had a very similar ripple effect, right? And
it does.
Yeah, like, tons of people found out about you because you did that, right? And how brilliant to be like, tag a local business in the comments, right? Like, I've done posts like that where I'm like, I want to follow 100 new fempreneurs this week. So I'm just going to ask that you tag a fempreneur that's maybe newer that I don't know about. And I've done a post like that probably about every year. And it's really neat the way social media connects us. But when you back it up with a tangible thing like a sticker in their store where they're always thinking of Shannon designs, like, it's brilliant, and just shows care, right? Like, it's just so awesome.
Yeah. And for me, it was just like I said, I still, my heart kind of goes, oh, that's cool, I did that. And it wasn't I'm doing this to get more business. That was the last thing on my mind. It was I care. I can't do anything else, but I care. And here's something little. And it made them smile. Like, a sticker. It's just a sticker, but it's so much more than that. It's like your free marketing school. I mean, you're much more strategic in that. And I'm learning to be more like that. Because it used to be cringy. It's like, ooh, no, that's too salesy, or that's, and, it's like, are you a salesman? Absolutely not. But I am. But being a salesman doesn't have to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's things that I'm learning still. And it's way better than I was, but you need a little reminder once in a while. It's like going to your YYC Fempreneur Marketing, like your events that you host, like the one that we did last week. It's like, oh man, I've got too much to do. I shouldn't go. I blah, 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 blah. All the excuses in the world. But when I'm there, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you're meeting, again, it's like-minded women that I probably never would have come across before, because I'm stuck in my business, right? I'm physically in a location where, I'm stuck there. And stuck's not the right word, but it's my zone.
It's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, for the most part, one of my main missions in working with you is to get you seen by new people more often. And I do get really bossy and even maybe a little bit aggressive with Shannon when there's an event coming up. I'm like, yo, you're coming, so just make sure you're there. I will be very mad if you're not there. Like, anyway, so it's because I know that you don't get excited about going, but I know that you're always glad you did. So, and a
Always.
lot of entrepreneurs feel like that.
Yeah. And it's because I think we just get stuck in life. It's like, no, I've got too much to do. And then, it's like, why not?
Mhm.
Like, my business isn't going to close because I am closed for a few hours and go attend this event. It opens new doors, and it just makes you feel good to see that there's other people like you.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn. That's the thing that I love about it, is there's always so much to learn.
Mhm. Like new line dances.
Like new line dances and like singing karaoke. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm very casual in how I dress at work because it can be kind of not messy, but, I may have to crawl on the ground or whatever, get it under a machine, something. So, I mean, I wore a dress, I went downtown, I line danced, and I sang karaoke in the middle of the week. So,
On a Wednesday. And
on
guess
a
what
Wednesday.
song we sang, everybody? Shannon and I sang together. No one's gonna know, so we're just gonna have to tell them. Which song was it?
Day drinking. Little Big Town. I'm like, I can sing that one. That's kind of talking as
Yeah.
much as singing.
It was
But
good.
yeah, it was just, you need to do those things for you, because I mean, you can work all the time. I literally, my husband and my daughter work away. So when my daughter's away, I have her puppy and I have our dog. And it's really easy for me to go, I've got nothing to do. I'll just go to the shop and do some work. And so, learning how that's a struggle for me, is trying to get that balance.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it in little ways. And the big thing, especially lately, is celebrate your wins. And your wins don't have to be big. Like, they don't have to be this huge, like, I landed this contract for $50,000 or whatever. It's, I hired a casual staff member.
Yeah.
And she's so excited to work with me. And I'm so excited to have her because she's so happy to be there. And I'm like, and her telling me, I wanted to meet you for so long. I really wanted to work with you. And I'm like, are you talking to me? No, you can't be talking to me. So
Yeah,
it's
she's
just,
fangirling over you. It was so cute.
she's awesome. Yeah, Susanna is awesome. And I have Neela. Neela's been with me. It'll be 2 years in December, I think. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have the growth I have if I didn't have the staff. And it took me a long time to I'm like, you know what? I can just do it. I'll just work harder. I'll work longer. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't know everything. I'll never know everything. And I can teach other people. I can't, they say, well, you need to duplicate yourself. Well, you're never going to duplicate yourself, but you can duplicate parts of what you do, and that can help your business grow.
Yes, absolutely. And we've been having fun with just things like, I think it was back at Christmas time, or maybe I think it was December or January, when we decided to get serious about doing the monthly special. And, having fun with like building the template and Canva for that monthly special, and then sourcing out different things. And we've just been like, kind of evolving together. And Shannon challenges me in different ways, which I really enjoy. And I love the business that she has. I could see myself having a business like hers. So I can totally get behind it. And I really enjoy it. So I guess for all of you out there who want to turn your creativity, your passion to create into a business, just know that it is possible. And like Shannon went from doing this in her basement to having a storefront and having 2 staff and like a very, very viable, very well-known business in our city. So it is possible, and it is rewarding, and it can be fun. And so just don't give up. Just don't quit. Is, I guess, the main message I really want people
Yeah,
to
that is a big thing. When things get hard, buckle down and figure out how to make it better, or what you can do. Or, COVID catchword was pivot, but it truly was. You pivot and you figure out what else works. And, we throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Not everything's going to stick, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you didn't learn from it. So, or sometimes, like you said, another thing we did during COVID was those make and take events. Like, once we were allowed to be together, And that brought people into my shop that probably never would have come into my shop, or maybe had drove by and went, oh, I wonder what she does in there. And that's huge. That was huge. That was so, and I love that. I love helping people make things. And that's, you know, they walked away that night within a 2-hour period. They had some friends, they had some snacks, they made something fun that they love, and they walked out. And to me, that was a win. Are they huge money makers? Nah, they'll never, that
No,
wasn't my
yeah, no,
purpose.
yeah, yeah. And it's very similar to my events, right? I don't look at the event itself as a money maker. I look at that as a way to meet people that wouldn't know about me otherwise and wouldn't know the women there, right? Like, you've connected people, you've helped these people that come to your make and takes make new friends. Like, people have met there.
Yeah. I mean, often it was women that they got a group of friends together and it's just like, oh my gosh, we need to. So I love that part. But I mean, I think our last event, we had a lady that signed up really last minute. She knew no one. She goes, I've been watching you on social media and I just thought, you had an event and you're like, you know what, I'm going. She knew no one. And I love that because that takes guts to step into somewhere that you don't know anyone, right? It's like, hey, here I am. And, she had a good time. She met some other ladies. And yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's so neat too, because yesterday you said something really neat. We started a new marketing school group. Well, I started a new marketing school group, but Shannon's one of the alumni that's a part of it, which is also a dream come true from years ago, is to have some of you ladies come in and, to refresh yourself and your marketing skills, but to invest into the noobs, which is what you're doing. And I appreciate you. But you did share something yesterday that I was honestly kind of blown away by, when you said that you would love to be able to help, people who are now where you were 20 years ago, help them get their poop in a group and get going, and just, give them a bit of a blueprint and help them maybe save some of the pain that you had to go through to get to where you are today. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, to be that mentor that I wish I would have found, because it starting a new business can be so funny. And especially women, there's more than enough work out there for everybody. I can't do it all. You can't do it all. But if you can have a connection with someone and teach them, okay, this worked for me, try this. Like, when I think of all the stuff that I had to self-teach myself, like hours of research, hours of trial and error, tears, messing shit up. Like, it's just, I think about it now. And something happened on Monday. We were embroidering something got caught, it ripped. And I'm like, normally I would have been, I'm done. Like, forget it. I've screwed up. No, within 10 minutes, had a solution. And within an hour, we had it fixed. So, when you're a solopreneur, which I was for so long, and that's why the Fempreneur Marketing School and the connections I've made there are so important and so meaningful to me, is that I know that I could reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? Like, the marketing school, I met Noreen, who organizing my space. And she came into my shop and she helped me implement some stuff, and she helped me organize and kind of put some systems in place, because I'm the girl that goes and buys all the containers and I'm going to sort my life out with frickin' plastic containers. And then I get so far and then I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do anymore. But knowing that, I had her come into my business, she was excited. It made me excited. I was motivated, and we supported each other. Right? Like, it's just, you can't put a value on that. So to be able to help other women get started, when I first started, my mother-in-law is a big Women's World reader, and it's a magazine, like a little paper thing you get at the supermarket checkout.
Yeah.
And it's from the States, and she sent me an article in the mail about this lady who she had the exact same embroidery machine that I had, and she was at home working in her basement, and she went to their local racetrack, and she reached out to them and said, hey, I can do an embroidery. And of course, their stuff is all embroidered, their racetrack, the jumpsuits they wear. And that's how she got going, was she did that. And I had that on my bulletin board for years and years and years, until it faded to the point that you couldn't read it anymore. And it was inspirational to me to look at that and go, okay, she did it, I can do it too. So Yeah.
Definitely. Well, you are an inspiration in our fempreneur community. You're one of our I feel like you're one of our fempreneurs that has had your business the longest, which always inspires the ladies. And you rallied and pivoted through COVID. Like you've really seen it all in your business. I mean, I know some of the working situations you've had too that were interesting. I mean, I know a lot of things about your business that we aren't going to talk about today, but like you have really just continued to find ways to make it work. And again, kudos to Greg for cheering you on. I know Lindsay's been a huge part of your business too, your daughter. And yeah, so just is there anything that you want to leave fempreneurs with before we hop off? Any other final words of wisdom?
I feel like a broken record because I've said it so many times, but find your tribe. And, your tribe might not be my tribe, but there is a tribe out there for you. There's women out there that you'll connect with, and they'll support you, and you can support them. And you can get as much out of supporting someone else as the support that you get, because there's growth on both sides, right? I mean, you have taught me so much, and hearing you say I've taught you stuff, I was like, really? I'm so like, oh, okay, I guess so. But it's just find that tribe and find that support, and whatever that looks like for you, whether it's, I really like being able to see you and have that connection with you. But you've got women in your group from the States. Like you've got a woman in Australia that you work with, and who's also written a book. Like never in a million years would I have thought, when someone says, oh, you're an author, I'm like, oh, I wrote a little guidebook. Like it's no big deal. It is a big deal. Like I put myself out there, and you're vulnerable, and just do it. Find that group that supports you and that you can support.
Awesome. All right. Find your tribe. Okay. So Shannon's book is linked in the show notes. You can also you can search for it on Amazon. Build Your Brand by Shannon Dick. Marketing school, there's one underway right now, so you can't get it on that, but there will be another one starting up in the fall. So check that out at yycfempreneurs.com. There are 2 retreats happening in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, one in November and one in January. If it's time for you to write your book, get my new book. It's called It's Time to Write Your Damn Book, Woman. So you can grab that book, or you can just come to the writing retreat in Mexico in November. And Shannon will hopefully be at one of the retreats. I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure I'm going to get her there to one of them. And what else? I think that's everything. We don't have any make and takes in the calendar yet, but by the time you're listening to this, check at shannondesigns.ca. There might be one there. Anything else that I'm forgetting to mention?
No, just, enjoy summer.
Yeah, enjoy summer. Well, thank you, Shannon. It's been a pleasure having you share your story with our listeners, and I appreciate you and love working with you, and love that you inspire our community with just literally, because you keep plugging along, and you also keep telling everybody that you're having fun, which I think is so great. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye.